Alright, I know I'm late to the party on this one, but let me explain. While everyone was busy playing Inscryption, discovering all its secrets and its ARG and everything else in between, I was busy. I'm busy doing what, you might ask? Well, I was browsing Instagram Reels. And I know that might not be the answer you're expecting, but Instagram Reels are important. And without them, how are we meant to function as a society? Unless game devs these days are going to make games that I can play in small 10 to 15 second increments, why bother? But seriously, this is an Inscryption video and I can't stop thinking about it. I'm genuinely upset that it took me this long to play Inscryption. I love card games, and to be honest, I wasn't really aware of its existence until about 3 months ago. If you don't know what Inscryption is, it's basically a roguelike deck builder. I don't really know how to explain it though. It kind of breaks the mold of like your roguelike genre, and it has a really good story that like really supports such a really good like gameplay. This shit has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and for good reason. There's just so much depth to this game, and I can't wait to talk about it today. In the past, I've tried other deck builder roguelikes like Slay the Spire, but they didn't really, it didn't really hit for me. But Inscryption, I was hooked almost instantly. And of course, this is a spoiler warning when we talk about the game in its entirety. And if you want to join my Discord, I will link it down below. Yes. In Act 1, you start off in a cabin where you're introduced to our first character, Leshy. Leshy, the scribe of beasts, is a strange old fella who has isolated himself in the forest away from human civilization. To fill his time, he acts as a sort of dungeon master for a card game and has invited us to play against him. Now, if you're someone who's familiar with tabletop games, then you know there is no such thing as a simple card game, and in Inscryption, it's honestly no different. On the left hand of the table sits a scale. This is essentially your life total, and it's your job to try and tip the scale to one side, using golden teeth of course. To get teeth onto the scale, you must play your cards. Big surprise there. Now each card has a cost represented by a blood symbol or a bone symbol. Thankfully you have a sideboard full of squirrels, which serve no purpose other than to be sacrificed. Baby, I'm playing on you tonight. So these act sort of like your mana base. Additionally, you can sacrifice almost every card in the game as long as it's played on the board. So there's always a good amount of thinking involved when deciding on what you want to sacrifice. Other than blood, cards can also cost bones to cast. You earn bones every time a creature is killed or is sacrificed, which is a pretty simple mechanic. Bone cards require just a little bit more synergy in order to work, but there are plenty of boons and keywords that can really help you with that build. Finally, let's talk about card stats. Again, if you've played Magic the Gathering before, you'd be familiar with these, but to keep it simple, the numbers on the left indicate how much damage a creature does, and the numbers on the right is how much health it has. What the fuck are you? Now, instead of going through every single keyword in the game for all the creatures, I just want to showcase some of my favorites. Firstly, bifurcated and trifurcated strike. These ones are so good. Each of these allow you to attack in 2 or 3 different places at once, making your cards do way more damage. It's also worth noting that they attack in the diagonal tiles to themselves, so you can place them in a safe spot and knock something out on the other side of the board that you're not directly in front of. Additionally, a really good keyword is Hoarder. Hoarder says, when a card bearing the sigil is played, you may search your deck for any card and put it into your hand. In Magic the Gathering, this ability is called a tutor and is one of the most powerful effects in the game. Having something with Hoarder means you can easily find the best card in your deck and put it straight into play. Alright, hello, it's Casa from the present, and while I'm procrastinating editing the actual video, I want to show you legit how OP this card is right now with the tutor effect. So Warren is a cool little card, and it's got something called Rabbit Hole, which means when it's played you make a rabbit with the sigil, but what it doesn't specify is that the rabbit actually inherits the same keywords as Warren. So if we play Warren now, we get the rabbit into our hand, and then we get to tutor for whatever we want. We can take this one because that's OP. And then we've got another rabbit here. We can put the rabbit on the board for free and literally do it again. An effect like that is crazy. You basically get like a double tutor, and then, oh man, just so cool. Very cool. Cool game. In addition to all these keywords, there's a bunch of other stuff like variable stats, boons and items, and even a few currencies, but I'm not going to really go into too much details for those, as it's worth discovering on your own.
Just take Ghost Void.
Lol, the NPC in Inscryption has told me to scoop. Another really cool thing about this game is that you aren't actually bound to the table. At any time, you can actually just get up and walk around. Leslie's cabin is filled with a load of little puzzles, and completing them will reward you with some really cool cards and items, so it's definitely worth checking them out to progress your board. Now, speaking of progression, Leslie rolls out a map for us on the table where you can follow a path throughout the woods, facing trials and battles as you progress through your story, and eventually you will reach the end of the road where you are met with a boss. This journey is repeated 3 times as you face 3 different bosses: the prospector, the fisherman, and the hunter. I think it's really cool that each boss has a unique move that's thematic to their fight. The prospector can turn your cards into gold, the fisherman hooks your cards onto their side of the board, and the hunter sets traps and turns your cards into pelts. Now, if you're an idiot like me, you probably didn't kill all the bosses the first time around, which means your run is over. Did I just lose? I just fucking lost. This game is so hard, bro. And once you die, your character will wake up in another room where Leslie will be staring at you. Inscryption has a really cool mechanic where once you die, you're able to combine the stats and keywords of your best cards into your deck into a custom card. You even get to name it, which I think is actually pretty cool. I was also dead set gaslit as I had a custom card in my deck called Casey. I legit had no idea where it came from at the time, but keep that name in mind because I'll be coming back to that. Eventually, you build a deck strong enough to beat all the 3 bosses, and now it's time to finally 1v1 Leslie. The Leslie fight is a combination of all 3 bosses, alternating between each of the moves as you go through the phases. Once you reach the final phase, Leslie stops, he turns around, and he takes a photo of the moon before turning it into a card. And you can probably guess what's next. Destroying the moon is honestly the easiest part of the fight, and to be completely honest, if the game just ended here, I would have been pretty satisfied. But really, this is only like 30% of the game. Once you defeat the moon, your screen cuts out before opening what seems to be like a media player.
Oh my, I think I just beat him. Oh.
What the fuck was that?
Hey there, card gamers! I'm the Lucky Carter, and this is a vintage pack opening video. Today I'm opening a few super rare old packs I snagged at a garage sale. I've got 4 packs of Inscryption. You would not believe the deal I got on these. Now, not all of you will even remember this game. I'm barely old enough to have seen these going around in my childhood. For whatever reason, they only did 1 set of these cards and then stopped printing them. There's not a huge market for them anymore, but at the rate I got them for, there's not really much to lose. That being said, a foil Mantis God goes for a couple $100, so fingers crossed. Really cool art on these. Definitely stands the test of time. And our rare for this pack is Blue Mage. Cool looking card, but not going to be worth very much. All right, let's see what we got going on in the second pack. This pack has been opened and resealed. Hope no one snuck the rare out of it. That would suck. Come on, people, honestly. Who opens and reseals a pack? There's a set of coordinates on this card. Looks like they were drawn on with a pen. 49 degrees north, 123 degrees west. I think I'd have to check, but I think that's pretty nearby.
All right, you guys, I'm out here living my best life. Got my trusty headlamp and shovel. Always come prepared, kids. Whew. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Whew. Getting close. I think. Assuming there is a thing to get close to. This very well may be a massive waste of... All right. That's why you always bring an extra battery, boys and girls. Every time. You gotta come prepared. Okay. All right. This is it. And now we dig. I give a 75% chance it's a rock, but only one way to find out. What the fuck is that? Oh my god, you guys, I can't believe it. There's actually something here. What? What the fuck? Guys, are you seeing this? I'm a little confused.
Has a floppy disk drive anymore. Okay, $11. Cheaper than a foil Steam ball, really. Alright, fine. Wow, great video! Okay, time to figure out what's on this thing.
Now, this is the exact moment I fell in love with the game. Luke Carter, from what we learned, is basically a TCG YouTuber, and I don't know who the hell would want to do that, but sure, I guess. I would never do that. But he's basically discovered these packs of Inscryption, and he's recording them. From now on, this game sort of breaks the mold of what you can expect from like a roguelike game, where it almost changes genre for the entire second act. I also had the opportunity to play this game completely spoiler free, and I'm so grateful for that. Given that it's been out for a couple years now, I actually can't believe I had no idea what was happening next. Act 2 is where we're introduced to not only an entirely new map, but entirely new characters as well. Reminiscent to those old 2D Nintendo top-downs, it's now our job to take on the 4 scribes and choose one to replace. This map is broken down into 4 different areas, each of which is protected by one of the scribes: Gomorrah, Magnificus, PO3, and our old friend Leshy. Instead of going through the game's mechanics and stuff here, I wanted to talk about a really cool detail of this area.
The 4 characters we are starting to learn about are actually more important than you might think. Each of these scribes has a specialty that both relate to the game and their personality. So I'm just going to get straight into it, and I'm going to start with Leshy. After finishing Act 1, it's safe to assume that Leshy, the Scribe of Beasts, loves storytelling, acting almost like a dungeon master during the first portion of the game. It's safe to say we can make the connection that he's responsible for the lore and story behind Inscryption, rewriting cards and taking photos and documenting the lore and vibes and everything else in between. Secondly, let's look at Magnificus, the Scribe of Magics. Always being seen with a paintbrush, we actually get a little cutscene with him in Act 1 where we visit him in a vision where he's painting the puzzles that we can find in Leshy's cabin. Additionally, he also likes to leave hidden clues with his invisible paint throughout the game. So I think it's safe to say that Magnificus is responsible for the art and aesthetic of the cards in Inscryption. Now, if we look at Gomorrah, the Scribe of the Dead, her connection with the game is a little more abstract, caring more about the identity and nature of cards, and using her quill, she inscribes cards into tombstones where they come alive. If you paid a little bit of attention in Act 1, you'd also recognize her as the Stinkbud card. Finally, I want to talk about PO3, the Scribe of Technology, and this one's pretty important. Since our first interaction with PO3 as the Stoat, he's always come off as an arrogant and rude character, judging every move we play in Inscryption. Because of his attitude, he's also universally disliked by the other scribes, and for good reason. It's clear that PO3 cares more about the rules and mechanics of the game, always wanting us to min-max our decisions, and talking shit every time we make a bad decision.
Shut your bitch ass up!
This robot is the future of humanity, the bridge to tomorrow, the result of decades of scientific hard work, our last hope, and its name is Rizbot.
Now, a little side note, if you've ever played a TCG before like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh!, you would know exactly the type of nerd that likes to hover on your table and micromanage you as you play your game. PO3 is the perfect embodiment of that character, and it reminds me so much of experiences I've had at LGSs playing Magic, where people will just come up to you and they just automatically think they're a part of the game and they'll just try to play for you, and then they'll always snicker if you do something wrong. But anyway, once we finish the trials in each of the 4 areas, we are left with a choice on which scribe to replace. Now, depending on what you pick, you'll get a unique piece of dialogue, but ultimately it doesn't really matter as the outcome will end the same.
Release me!
Hey card gamers, I'm the Lucky Carter, and this, well, it's a bit of a strange video. It's actually more of a question to my audience. As I've learned over the years, nobody knows card games better than you guys do, so I'm hoping someone can help me out here. Did anyone ever play an Inscryption video game or hear about it? I'm talking about that vintage one-set card game I opened packs for last week. I don't know what I'm allowed to say. I don't want to get in any trouble here. I think I've got the only known copy of the digital version of Inscryption. I've been filming myself playing it, and it's weird, guys. I don't want to get in any hot water by showing the footage, but Can someone please prove me wrong? Please tell me someone has a copy of this game. I have been looking online for days and I cannot find a word about it. I reached out to the publishers hoping maybe they would get back to me, but as a fallback, I got you beautiful viewers. Can hopefully dig up something. That's it. That's the video today, guys. Thank you so much, as always. And, oh yeah, what the fuck is the card? Mr. Carter, we have received your inquiry regarding a digital version of our intellectual property Inscryption. We can assure you that no such software exists in any official form. However, if you have indeed come into possession of proprietary Game Funa hardware, you are compelled to return it to us under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. The hardware will be considered stolen if it is not returned to us within a reasonable time frame. Please carefully package the hardware and paste the attached shipping label to the front of the box. You may mail the package at a local post office. We would like to avoid taking legal action in your case, so please do not delay in returning the proprietary software. Sincerely, Game Funa, Customer Happiness Department. What the fuck? I think this woman's actually from Game Funa. She came to my door yesterday and I didn't answer. This time I'm gonna record it. Hi!
Hi there!
Hey.
I'm floppy disk for a game called Inscryption. I was told you came by a copy of it somehow. Sound familiar?
No.
No?
No, I don't know anything about that.
Really?
Inscryption, you said?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Really? Because, apparently you emailed us about it. You are, Luke Carter, right?
Oh.
You know the luckycarter@gmail.com?
Yeah, you know what? That's, I am Luke Carter, but that's not my email address.
Really? Because, I just noticed because I've seen your videos.
Oh!
I'm a big fan.
Well, thanks for watching. Listen, how'd you know where I live, exactly?
My boss gave me your address.
And how did you get past the side gate? It's locked.
Okay, Luke. I'm going to give you my business card. And if you remember anything at all, feel free to give me a call. Okay?
Will do. Take care. What the fuck? Hey there, card gamers! I'm the Lucky Carter, and this is another pack opening video. Today I'm opening Secrets of Legendaria, hoping for that sweet, sweet foil Valamir.
Act 3 is where the veil starts to get lifted a little more, and I literally only had like 2 notes while I was playing for this area, and it was what the fuck is going on and robot area. And I think that pretty accurately sums up what I was feeling at this point in the game after the game completely switches genre again. Gone are the warm candles and creepy cabin puzzles, now replaced by conveyor belts, steel walls, and little robots. It's honestly kind of impressive how quickly the game flips genres again. Act 1 felt like a horror roguelike, while Act 2 was very clearly like a retro RPG, and Act 3 is just what America looks like. PO3, being the scribe of technology, obviously changes the rules here as well. No more blood and bones, instead we're now working with an energy system. It feels familiar if you played other TCGs before, but it also means that the game starts to get really math heavy. And of course, PO3 never shuts up about how much his system is better. Every time you make a suboptimal play, you guessed it, he'll remind you that you're basically just a monkey playing with cards. The structure here is also quite different.
Instead of Leshy rolling out a map, we now get to wander the factory in an isometric grid layout. Each area has puzzles, item upgrades, and eventually a boss fight. Speaking of bosses, the gimmicks here get really weird. One moment you're facing like a giant security guard, and the next moment you're literally against the files on your computer. Like there's a legit boss fight that makes you search through your computer's files and pick the largest file on your computer.
Act 3 definitely leans more into breaking the fourth wall, and I love how meta-defining it gets. And it does it in a way which I think is like really engaging. Like every time I hear from Luke Carter, I'm like excited for his next cutscene. And speaking of Luke Carter, his story, in my opinion, kind of outshines what's happening on your screen at the time with PO3. The live footage we're getting of Luke Carter starts to get more dark as we learn more about his life and more about what's happening to him and how he's going crazy. At this point, you kind of realize that Inscryption is really just a vehicle for the story that's laying on the surface. And each time we progress the game, we learn more and more about what's happening in like the real world.
Someone is here. Fuck this. My boat's in the other room, so if I die before I can call 911, use this tape as evidence.
Now back up to the factory, the longer you play the game, the more obvious PO3's endgame becomes. Eventually, after grinding through all the areas and solving these dumb little like circuit puzzles, you finally make it to the end where you face PO3 one-on-one. He's sitting there literally ready to hit upload on Inscryption and basically turn himself into like the Mark Zuckerberg of cursed card games. But when he's about to succeed, something happens. The other scribes intervene. They've obviously had enough of PO3's bullshit and they try to shut him down, completely hijacking his master plan at the very last second. And the way the game frames this moment is actually so satisfying. It's like watching the fucking micromanaging nerd at the LGS spill Pepsi all over his cards.
And that's where Act 3 leaves us. Mid-dialogue with PO3, he just gets his head ripped off, and that's it. PO3's story kind of comes to a close here, but it's not before at least one final twist that this game has to offer.
What really happens now is wild. The game literally starts deleting itself in real time, and one by one the scribes take over your board, trying to give you a final send-off before the data is wiped for good. And it's actually kind of heartbreaking. First up is Grimora, and man, this section actually kind of hurts. She decides that the only way to stop the old data from ever spreading is to delete the game entirely, even if it means erasing herself. So her final duel feels less like a boss fight, more just like a funeral. The cards are tombstones, the music is somber, and she literally apologizes to you while you're playing. Then Leshy takes over, and honestly, it feels like coming home. The cabin, the candles, and the creepy forest atmosphere, it's all back. Except this time, Leshy isn't trying to trick you or gaslight you with giant moons. He honestly just wants to play one final game with you. And even after you defeat him, he'll just remove the scale where you can just keep fighting him. Eventually, when it's done, he tips his hat like a dungeon master and he says goodbye. After that, Magnificus steps into the grand finale. And of course, being an artsy drama king, he likes to make a spectacle. The board fades, everything turns into a glowing void, and his final duel feels more like an abstract art piece. It's flashy, it's weird, and it's honestly the perfect way for him to bow out. All the while, the game keeps glitching, deleting files, and collapsing in on itself. It's like you're watching the very fabric of Inscryption unravel, and in the background, Luke Carter's story finally reaches an end. He uncovers too much about the old data, and well, let me just show you.
Yes, thank you so much for getting back to me.
No problem, Luke. If I understand you correctly, you've got some video footage that might expose some malpractice on the part of a game publisher, Game.
Yes, that's right. Firstly, I have a game of theirs that took control of my PC for a bit, which can't be legal. And then this woman from the company came to my house, and she...
Okay, hold on a second. Let me just get my pen and pad here, okay? Okay, so you have a game of theirs that took, was it a virus or something?
I told you.
So yeah, by the time the credits roll, there's actually no triumphant victory screen, no happy ending. You sort of just sit there in silence. And I'm not joking, I actually teared up. And that's when it kind of hits you that Inscryption was never really about winning. It was more just about like the experience and the secrets and really the people behind the game. Once the credits roll out, the game literally closes. The whole thing just like closes from your computer, which I think is really cool. Now, being a roguelite, you can reboot the game and you're met with a whole new game mode called Casey's Mod. And I think that there's probably another much shorter video on its own for that one. So if you are interested in seeing a part 2, please let me know.
Now, I wanted to share my final thoughts on the game. And this area is a bit more unscripted because I doubt many of you have actually gotten this far into the video. But Inscryption was honestly awesome. I really felt like if the game was just the Leshy section at the end, I would have enjoyed it. But the fact that there was so much more depth just really shocked me. I didn't really expect to be playing through Act 2 and Act 3 in the way that I did, as I thought that Act 1 was just fleshed out enough. So it really makes sense why this game has so many good reviews. Thematically, it was really interesting. I love the art style. I love the music. I really loved Magnificus's song, I think it was. That one was definitely my favorite, and it's also the same song that's played in the credits. And I really enjoyed its roguelike elements. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend playing Inscryption. I know I've pretty much just spoiled the whole thing for you now, but I'll leave a link in the description if you did want to check it out. And if you have played it, let me know what you think. I really enjoyed it. It was probably one of my favorite games I've played all year. I know I said that in the last video, but it's true. They just keep like one-upping each other. And if you did make it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Check out my Magic the Gathering channel where I post all sorts of random shit. I love Magic the Gathering. It's a really cool game. And other than that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.